Hey everyone, it's Mike Andes, and you're listening to the Landscape Business Course Podcast. Today we're going to be calling some random callers on the text platform that we have, and you can be one of those if you text that number. So today we're just going to pick 2 random callers, maybe 3 if we have time. Just see if we can call them. Hopefully they pick up. Hopefully they have a question that we can talk about. But it'll be a surprise to them. It'll be a surprise to us. Hopefully they pick up. But before we get into today's show, a big thank you to today's sponsor, which is lawncarewebdesign.com. If you haven't already, go check it out. Basically, for a set monthly price of $399, no upfront costs, no contract, they're going to help you get your website started. I am the owner of that business. I do not actually do the code and customize your website, but we create custom websites for you, and with no contract. If you don't like it after 2 months and you don't think it's worth it, that's fine. That's the value that we think we provide is far in excess and going to be generating way more leads than the $399 worth each month. So check that out today. That is our sponsor of today's show. But let's go ahead and jump right in and see if we can't get some people to answer their phone. So we got a couple numbers here. I'm going to cover them up. That have texted this number. So while I'm calling this person, make sure you text 855-575-1267 and just text one word to that, landscaping. Once you do that, you're in the texting platform, and about once a week, I update you with things and do giveaways. I'll randomly surprise people with giving them a shirt or a hat, or I'll text them or I'll call them, just random stuff like that. It's one-on-one. It is me. I'm the only person accessing that account. So let's go ahead and call somebody. I don't even know the names of these people because when you text me, I don't know your name. So we're going to call, don't know, have no idea who these people are, but let's go ahead and see if they're available. Here we go.
Hello, this is Justin.
Hey Justin, this is Mike with Landscape Business Course. How you doing?
Oh, good, Mike. How are you doing?
Fantastic. So are you out working today?
No, actually, right here in Michigan, I'm just doing some office work and stuff.
Okay. So you guys probably under snow or still warmed up a bit?
Actually, it's warming up. Most of it's melting. We're hoping we can start working here in the next week or so.
Very cool. Very cool. So what can I help you with?
So I really want to focus on marketing.
Okay.
Kind of something I struggle with, and we do pretty much everything but cut grass. We do mulch, landscape design, and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And we're really trying to focus and come up with some new and creative ways to market. There's a lot of new construction in the area. We really want to target that.
Mm-hmm. Okay, cool.
So,
and what'd you do in revenue last year?
we did about 250.
Perfect. Okay. And when you say we, how many people is that?
It was me, and then we had one full-time guy and a part-time guy.
Full-time, part-time. Cool. So
Yeah.
you and 2 guys, basically?
Pretty much, yep.
Awesome. Cool. And so what's kind of your goal this year? Like, are you trying to hit like 500,000 or just kind of like, okay, cool.
We're
2020.
trying to double it, and I know we're looking at buying like a dingo or a ditch witch or something to help with, productivity and everything.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And then in terms of cash flow, like during the winter, do you guys stay pretty busy with the landscaping stuff still?
No, it pretty much dies down. This year we were able to work a little bit later into the winter, which was nice. We worked probably till the second week of December, I think it was.
Okay.
Doing like some small patio and pavement work.
Okay. Cool. So from a marketing perspective, what have you done in the past in terms of like 2019, for example?
So 2019, we did like some of the EDDM.
Mm-hmm.
We did. We were on Home Advisor. We really didn't like that. We're switching that. We did some door hangers. We're looking to really increase that this year.
Okay.
For like mulch and shrub trimming and stuff like that. We did some Facebook stuff. There's a couple Facebook groups in our area. We did pretty decent with that.
Mm-hmm.
As well as honestly, some of it was just going door to door as we're working on job sites. Going 5 neighbors on each side across the street, all that.
Mm-hmm. Cool. So when you're doing door hangers, for example, are you advertising cleanups? Are you advertising like mulch installs as like gateway, or are you going for like more hardscaping stuff right off the bat?
So it depends. We have 2 different door hangers that we use. We have one that's more like the design build with like new construction, patio, walkways, and then we have one that goes out to a lot of the older neighborhoods with like shrub trimming, mulch, cleanup, stuff like that.
Okay. Cool. All right, and then where's for your revenue breakdown for doing things like shrubs and like smaller versus like hardscape, lots of material driven? Do you have a kind of is like 50-50 split?
It's right around 50-50, I'd say.
Okay, cool. And do you find like the spring you get most of your leads and you kind of book out your whole year since it's mostly project-based work?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, pretty much through like probably middle July, I'm busy with bids, and then after that, we're pretty much booked out, and then we'll get some smaller stuff trickle in.
Okay.
But the majority of our calendar is booked out probably up until like June when we keep getting these leads in.
Okay, cool. So do you feel like this year, what's your plan right now? Like, do you already have a plan you're in place? Because I know you're only a week from kind of getting rolling.
So we're on a couple different, we started like the Facebook stuff that we did last year that worked. We're doing like a Val Pack. We're trying that out because it seems to do well in our area.
Okay.
Which we've already started to get some leads in with that. We did a little bit of door hanger stuff right now. Next week, I'm going to spend probably most of the week with my guys just kind of doing door hangers and stuff like that. Because we want to kind of test that out.
Yeah.
And see, because last year we did it a limited amount. This year we want to really want to see how that works throughout the year.
What's your door hanger say, like right now?
So we did like a new construction install special for $2,900. That's pretty much on one side. That advertises like trees, shrubs, the plant mix for the beds, mulch, and we offer a 2-year plant warranty.
Okay.
And then like for the other one, for instance, we do 10% off mulch installations and shrub trimmings.
Okay.
And then there's also 5% off landscape renovations. Because like I said, we have the 2 different door hangers for 2 different target markets.
So the one for new construction, is that going, like basically telling someone you're going to rip out their lawn and do a new one?
No, that's for like new homes.
Oh, for ones that don't even have a landscape yet?
Yep, right. Some have sod and irrigation and no plants. Some have just bare dirt,
Got it. And you're actually able to hit those like in like neighborhoods, or is it kind of one-off, like you see a house being built and you go put a door hanger on it?
So around here, there's been tons of new growth. There are massive neighborhoods being built.
Okay.
So I can go and probably hit 30 or 40 houses down like 1 or 2 streets right now, one after the other for that stuff. Yep.
Okay, cool. All right, and then so you got Valpak, you're going to do a little bit of Facebook. When you say you're doing Facebook, what's your plan on that?
So that we do like, I can't even remember what it's called, like the neighborhood targeted ads. And we kind of do it the same way we do like Nextdoor.
Yep.
The neighborhood targeted. We do with Facebook, it's more like the mulch, the cleanups, the like small tree plantings, smaller work like that. We seem to have better results with.
Okay.
But we want to grow in our area. And we're going to be doing more of that, kind of expanding from just our little town, or not little town, but our town to the neighboring ones around us.
Okay. Cool. All right, so first of all, I really like the fact that you have the $2,900 offer as like a package deal. Like that's super cool. I really like that idea, and I think that would do really well with Facebook, even if it's targeted to the right people. So like you could do people you could target that special to people who have recently moved into your local area by basically making it a target that is, so there's a few different ways you can do that, but one of the easiest ways is to do people that have recently moved. You can target people who have recently moved and then just target your demographic, and that's a really good way to do it. But I think that would do really well there, as well as a couple things. Have you gone to any like contractor meetups?
Not yet. Actually, that's kind of something. We just joined a networking group, a BNI. I don't know if you're familiar with that.
Yep.
Okay, we just joined that. And there's like a builder architect in our group. And then we're trying to figure out how to go with some of these contractor meetups.
Yep. And honestly, what I would do if I was you, because one contractor can literally lead to $250,000 worth of growth. Like I would definitely look at the contractors as your point of like contact, because if someone's getting a custom house built, they are literally just going to their contractor and asking for referrals, or the contractor actually governs the contract and they get the landscaping done. It's all part of what the customer's paying for. And so if a builder does 10 houses in a year and you get 8 of their landscaping because they're just you're their go-to person, That's huge. And especially if you have like a $2,900 package, you can literally go to these contractors and be like, hey, these are $2,900, our $4,900, and our $8,900 install packages. And then they can just give that to their client and then say, like, which one do you want? And you can have pictures with each one. And like, that'd be huge. So like, I honestly, I would go like to the 10 or 15 custom residential home builders in your local area and like ask them out for coffee, take them lunch, take them some pizza, and then just give them like 3 flyers, each one having pictures and what the customer would get, and laminate them. And hopefully that ends up in their binder that then they can just like quickly whip out to their customer like, hey, what do you want to spend? Okay, this is your budget. It's $5,000. Okay, do you want to do the $4,900 one, or do you want to skimp a bit because your budget's low at the end of your project and you want to do $2,900? So like, I think really, because you're in land, like this is not something you usually do with like maintenance, for example, but with landscape installs, the amount of work that you can get from contractors is incredible if you become their like default landscaper, and you become that by basically making it super easy for them, right? And so that's why like having the 3 laminated sheets, exactly what the customer's gonna get with pictures, so like before and afters of each of those types of installs, would be huge. And because it's set prices, they can budget it in with the customer before the project even starts, and 6 months in advance that you're going to have this project, because from the budgeting standpoint, like 6 months in the budgeting stage with the customer, they already know exactly what you're going to charge.
Okay. Yeah, I love that idea. We'll definitely be doing something like that.
Cool.
That's awesome.
Cool. And go ahead.
Well, so I had a question. I was watching a video. I can't remember what the video was when you put it up. But you mentioned something about like going to like the newly sold home list and doing like letters and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Did you guys ever try that? You said you were going to try it. I don't think I ever heard any follow up on any videos, like the results of that.
Yeah. So I mentioned a little bit in the Facebook group, and this is our conclusion on that one. So for maintenance, it was a lot of hand to hand, like a lot of work to get the amount of leads that we got. This is the thing. We don't focus like you do on design and install. So like if I was you, it might be more worth it because you don't need as many. Like for example, we have hundreds and hundreds of maintenance clients, right? So going after them, there's less value attached to the customer acquisition cost. Whereas for you, your average ticket's probably $4,000 or $5,000, and so you're able to spend more time and money on acquiring a customer, and so. Like, it might be something you would want to do. Like, basically go to Zillow. You just sign up for their notifications where every single time a newly added listing is a listing is sold, then it notifies you. And then you get their address, and then you basically send them a letter. And in your scenario, I would literally have those 3 pages that you'd be giving contractors, edit them, modify them a little bit, welcome them to the neighborhood, and then give them those 3 options. I'd do it more like a 8.5 by 11, front side being like a welcome to the neighborhood. We're glad to have you here. We've been here, a little bit about you. And then on the flip side, have those 3 options of like renovations that they could like completely renovate their lawn or landscaping with. And so that's going to be more like a renovation side, but then the construction side, it would be more, I'd say, going towards the contractors. But that's definitely something that I would consider if I was you, because we were going after maintenance, and it became where the customer acquisition cost wasn't so high because like you're sending them a letter, but it was the prep of like printing off the letter, customizing it, writing out the envelope, it was cheaper for us to do Facebook and Google ads than that. But we were going after maintenance, which is a lower customer value. So
you think that would be more applicable to me and our business?
Yep. Especially if you have set prices, good, better, best model of renovation, right? And so I think if you make literally 6 packages, 1 for design build and like construction, and then 1 for renovation, and literally have good, better, best for each of those, and then that's really what you'd use to target the 2 different demographics. 1 would be more contractors or people building houses. 1 would be the homeowner who just moved in but wants to change their landscape up.
Okay.
So
awesome. Wow, that's great.
Cool. And last question. Have you done Google ads?
We did a little bit. Actually, we're having our website being rebuilt now, and we're going to tie in the SEO and all the Google ads with that.
Okay.
But we did a little bit. I did it myself, and I probably, if I would have had someone else do it, we would have had better results with it.
Yeah, I would play with it, and even if you get some advice, like literally, I wouldn't pay someone to do it. If I was you, I'd go watch YouTube videos for 4 hours, figure it out. And even if you spent $1,000 a spring on it, especially if you're doing the new website, because it's going to help your native SEO by driving traffic through those keywords, just by having the ads. But also, when you have landscaping, you have these higher ticket projects, you can afford the click, like the cost of the click. So even if you're paying up to $10 a click, which, by the way, is, in my opinion, too high. People are paying $10, $12. It usually means you're doing something wrong. Like you usually should be looking more like $4 to $6 per click on Google. But even if you spend $1,000, it'd help a lot with your SEO. But more importantly, you're driving leads that are looking for landscaping to your website, right? And so I think it'd definitely be something worth, like I would do that far in advance of spending money on every door direct mail or even door-to-door stuff, because it's just going to help so much with the SEO, which will then natively bring in leads after the ads are done.
Right. Okay. Yeah, then I'll jump on YouTube and I'll start looking up some videos and stuff on that.
Cool. All right, Justin, we'll stay in touch, and thanks for joining the texting group. I appreciate it.
Yeah, no, thank you.
Take care, brother. Yep.
You too.
Bye-bye. That was fun. All right, let's try to get one more in here. So just as a follow-up to that, with Justin there from Michigan, there's something I guess that kind of came up. This is why I like doing these calls, because stuff comes up that I don't usually think about on the podcast. People that are paying $10, $15, $20 per click on Google, you're doing something wrong. You do not need to pay someone to do it. There's a reason why we offer website design at Lawn Care Web Design and not a bunch of SEO and a whole bunch of other services like Google Ads and Facebook. You can learn those things. It's very hard to learn code. Like you cannot sit down in an afternoon and learn code and how to build these custom websites. We can do that for you, but I truly believe you can learn how to do Facebook ads. You can learn how to use Google Ads. This is stuff you can learn. So like if your cost per click is $20, you're doing something wrong. Definitely. All right, so let's call another one here before I start rambling on. That was Michigan, Justin. Now let's do this other number. 5. Oh, it's AB. He's a franchisee. That's hilarious. Oh, that's awesome. AB from New York. AB. As soon as I put it in my phone, I realized it was a franchisee, but hey, I told him I'd call.
Hi, Mike.
AB, I can't believe it. You won on the texting and... How's it going?
Awesome. By the way, it's so wonderful because I really have a lot of questions and I'm sorry. And I was like, I keep saying, oh my God, I really want to call Mike or whatever, but I just
hey, it was meant to
be.
So
bad, because I know how it is to do 100 things because I do 100 things. So it's and I don't have enough time in the day.
Oh man.
But anyway, how are you?
Very good, very good. It sounds like you're at a restaurant.
I'm not at the restaurant. Now I'm at the meat business.
Got it. Very cool. All right, what's up?
But anyway, I'm going somewhere quiet. All right, so I have a couple of questions. Mm-hmm. Okay, so I'm going to talk to you as far, don't talk to me as in I got anything. I want to talk to you straight.
Okay.
So as an absentee owner, okay, number one, my issue is I would like to hire an estimator. My problem is I cannot hire an estimator because the way an estimator gets paid, it can't work. I cannot give him based on growth when the business hasn't grown. So it's very complicated for me to hire an estimator. Mm-hmm. So it's okay. So I sort of worked around where I'm doing the estimations, and thank God we started getting a lot of acceptance already. Then my issue is now I'm hiring staff. How do I know if I don't know the business? How do I know that they're doing a good job? I mean, obviously I could look at the lawn and say, oh, wow, it's a good job. But how they're not going to be working at the maximum yet because I only have a few jobs. So the pay for performance is not really an incentive yet for them. So how do I know as an absentee owner, even though I'm going to be there, how do I know that they're really doing a great job? Mm-hmm. So it's sort of like two questions in one.
Yep. All right, so 1 second, I'm going to try and... So you actually have 3 questions. So first one is...
3 questions.
So first one's estimator pay. I would say having their base rate their hourly rate being sufficient enough, but then having them bought into the concept that, hey, as the business does grow and as I do make more sales, there's opportunity to make more money, right? So, for example, we're going to be starting a second corporate loan store down south of Washington, and when we go there, it's the same situation because we're just starting out brand new. How do I hire someone that's going to be incentivized and wants to work hard, but yet at first there is no upside for them when it comes to performance? Is make sure that they have a solid base pay, and then have them bought into the idea of like it can become more, right? And you're not making any money now anyways. Like you're still growing the business, so there's no reason to have them making performance-based pay, like in addition to their set hourly. So I would just focus on getting a good hourly rate that they're going to be satisfied with, but also it makes them a little bit hungry because they're not making as much as they want, and that will push them to go out and get the more sales.
So I'm expecting them to go out and get the sales.
Well, you're going to be generating leads, right? So you're already, you've already done, a website. You've already had, where command center is going to answer their calls. You already have where they're basically getting just things put on their schedule. You're doing the advertising too, right? Like you've done, door hangers and all this other stuff.
Everything, yes.
They're the ones, they're not really advertising. They're just closing the deals, right? Because you as an absentee owner are not able to be at all the estimates. And so therefore, you're going to need someone that's incentivized to actually close the deals. And so that's what I would do is have a base pay and say, look, every month we're going to go over the financials at the end of the month. We're probably not going to make money for the first little bit. You're not going to have any incentive or extra pay. But as the business grows, this is what you can make. This is what you are going to be paid in terms of percentage of profit. And that's really what, if they're a great person, they feel like they can really generate sales and grow the business. That's where their incentive should come from, is going for that.
Okay, fine. So that takes care of that answer.
So in terms,
I do understand.
Yep. In terms of satisfaction of whether or not a job is good or not, that comes down to surveying the customer. And I know you said to talk to you not like a franchisee, but in 2 weeks, you're going to have an automation that you can turn on to actually survey the customers in terms of satisfaction. But take that off the table. It really is going to come down to just asking for even reviews online from the customers. If they're not leaving those, then there's negativity. There's something wrong. If they're not giving you referrals, there's a problem, right?
Okay.
And so you're going to usually hear from an unsatisfied customer, someone they mess something up or your guys do something wrong. But what you're not going to hear from, and what the worst case scenario is, you don't hear from someone that's not happy, right? And so really it's about following up and making sure that they're satisfied, either by online review or emailing them or even just calling them. Literally, if you call them the day after they do a cleanup and hey, Mr. Jones, this is AB, just checking in, seeing how you are happy, making sure, following up. You're going to also make sales on that, right? So if you wanted to, you can make that the estimator's job too, as a way to follow up on every project. Be hey, the day after the guys finish, I want you to call them, ask them how they enjoyed their service, as well as see if there's anything else we can do.
Awesome. Now, it goes one step deeper into that question. The next part of that same question is, how do I know if they do a good job? Is how do I know they're going to be taking care of my equipment the way my equipment should be taken care of? This is the first time I've owned mowers. This is the first time I've owned a weed whacker, everything except for the truck, which I know. So I know that the truck has to be fully gassed up for the next morning. I never want the tank to be less than half empty. I have my craziness that I know when it comes to my other businesses. So how do I know that the mower needs sharpening, or the mower needs preventative maintenance, or what preventative maintenance? How do I know, as an absentee owner, how do I know that my guy is doing the right job? Is there something that I could print out and have a log, sort of like what a mechanic has when a car shows up into the lot? What they have to check for. If somebody says it's making noise, now he has to run through a certain list to see what is going on.
Yep. So what I would do in that scenario is, in terms of preventative maintenance, I would talk to the dealer of that equipment. So I know you have right equipment. So talk to them, say, hey, give me a printout of what I need to be doing on a weekly, monthly, and yearly basis, right? So I know right off the bat, they're going to be probably saying every week you need to be sharpening your blades. You know, they're going to be saying every month you need to be checking these, you know, check the oil, check this, check that. They're going to say every 6 months you should change the oil. You know, every year at least you should be doing the hydro oil, for example. That's just throwing stuff out at you.
Right.
And then what you do is then you go to one of your guys and say, hey, look, I want you to be the person that does all the preventative maintenance. Here's the schedule. This is what you're going to do. Then what you do in terms of tracking on Service Autopilot, we do it in assets. So if you go to Service Autopilot under assets, you can put in all your pieces of equipment, your trucks, stuff like that. And then when they do preventative maintenance, they just keep track of it in there. And if there's parts that are needed or they break stuff, that goes in there too. And then another way, in terms of though making sure that the guys treat it good, it's going to come down to damage cases. So when you implement P4P and get going, and if they break something on a piece of equipment, it's going to come off of their performance dollars. And so they will take much better care of it. If they leave it out in the rain, you know, if they leave a mower out in the rain or they leave it outside of being locked up, for example, I don't know your exact setup, but like they leave it outside the trailer for some random reason, it gets stolen at night, or someone slashes the tire, for example, that slashed tire comes out of their performance dollars. And so the way they treat the equipment dramatically increases when they start getting penalized for not treating it right. And those damage cases are not just for the customer's property, it's also for the company's property.
Okay. Okay, beautiful. Okay, fine. Nice. And by the way, my setup is awesome. I got so lucky. I got 6 acres.
Oh, awesome.
All right. I
P
think
for P. So last one. So last one's P for P when you're small and when the guys aren't necessarily being paid on performance yet because you're just getting started. It really goes back to the fact that you want to have a solid enough base rate, right? So if you want your base rate to be competitive enough to where you're going to keep people, and then they want you to grow. They want you to get more jobs, because when you do that, it's going to lead to them actually being able to make more performance-based pay. And so then again, you and them are pulling in the same direction because you want that same thing. And so what I would do is make sure that your base pay, your hourly rate, is enough, but it does kind of leave a little bit of thirst on their tongue to go get more. And that is then them being more efficient, them wanting you to get more jobs, them wanting more jobs. Like they will want to do 5 rounds and like put door hangers on the people next door of your existing customers if they know that if they get that customer, it's going to make them make really good money because they don't have to move the truck.
Okay, and last but not least.
Yep.
Can I send them out without supervision? Like, can I just tell them, you know what? I have spring cleanup. I want you to do X, Y, Z. I can set them up with Service Autopilot. They see their thing to do, and send them out on a first job. Or it's best for me to really be there. But my issue with me being there is that when I'm there, obviously I'm a hustler, so I'm gonna want to help. I'm gonna want to rake. I'm gonna want to do things, and then it's sort of like I don't want them to get the feeling that the boss is going to always help out. I want them to understand that they need to do things on their own. So do I just send them out like, go do the job, and then we'll get back, whenever, and I'll figure out if you guys did a good job or, something of that nature? Or do I go there with them in the beginning and then send them out again at the second time alone? Like I'm having a little issues with this because I'm not comfortable with them yet. You know what I'm saying? Right. I don't know them.
Yeah, it really comes down to the fact that you haven't implemented P4P yet. So once P4P is implemented, they will never want to come back to that job, right? So they will make sure they do a walkthrough with the customer and that the customer's happy. They will make sure that they have the project management video from you before they get to work and that they know exactly what they need to do when they get to the job, right? So P4P fixes a lot of those problems. In the meantime, I'd highly encourage you, make sure they have its growing pains, and make sure they have the project management video. Make sure that you require, even though right now you're not doing P4P, and for even people that would listen to this in the future, they might not be doing P4P, you can still require them to do a walkthrough with the customer. This is also going to lead back to what your second question was about satisfaction of work. Like even before we did P4P, they were required. They could not leave a job until they had done a walkthrough if it was a project or a cleanup or something like that. And so you definitely should not have to be there, right? Like between the project management video, that is going to suffice, making sure that they do what's on the estimate. And then the fact that you require them to do a walkthrough with the customer is going to ensure the customer satisfaction. And so between those two things, you should never have to go back to a job.
Okay. All right. Beautiful. All right.
Cool.
Nice. I'm excited.
All right, AB, we'll stay in touch. Thanks, brother.
Definitely.
Love you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
It's funny. So that was AB. So how we actually picked these first two people that we called today was from the first two people that joined the texting group, and AB obviously joined right away. So thanks so much, AB, as well as Justin, for today's call. If you would like to get on the texting group, the group, the platform, just text the number there up on the screen, 855-575-1267. Text the word landscaping. But just some context, AB is a franchisee of Augusta Lawn Care. I knew that as soon as I put it into my phone, and he's on top of his game, like Facebook posts, emails to the franchisees. He's always right on it. So obviously he joined the texting group immediately. But that's cool. He's in Dix Hills, which is on Long Island, New York, out in New York, and he's just starting out. And like you heard, some of his questions might seem a little bit elementary, but it's because he's like never done landscaping before, never done lawn care, and he's really just learning and figuring these things out. So he's implementing P4P, he's implementing project management videos, like all the stuff he just learned, and this is their first spring getting started. So kudos to AB, he's killing it. Feel free to reach out to AB. He's always a great resource, as well as he is always really great at learning stuff about the industry since he's never been doing mowing and things. So thanks so much. If you'd like to get on the group, and maybe next time we give you a call, just text the number up there, and we'd love to do that. So hopefully you like this. If you like this format of just randomly calling people, comment below. And I'd like to do these more often, maybe once or twice a week. Hopefully, if I have time, to just call random people, see what they're up to, real landscapers out doing exactly what you're doing probably right now, listening to this as you're driving, working out, like they're in the same position as you. And so trying to call them, it's not scripted, it's just live. I really like that. So let me know what you think about it in the comments below. Thanks so much. You've been listening to Mike Andes on the Landscape Business Course Podcast.